So today is May 29th, 2019. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jasmine. I'm 22 years old and I'm a mother to an almost 2-year-old. She'll be 2 in August. This is my miscarriage story. I was never really expecting this day to happen. So it really sucks. I mean, I know I'm not alone in this situation. It is a very common thing to happen. And I am still young, so it's not the end for me. I could still have a normal pregnancy the next time around. And I pray to God that does happen. I didn't even get a chance to post the live pregnancy test video that I put together here because I was waiting to tell my family that I was even pregnant, and I didn't even get the opportunity to let them know the news before I found out the bad news. So I'm just gonna jump right into it, start from the beginning so that way it makes sense. So on May 5th, 2019, we found out that we were pregnant, and it was probably the most exciting and shocking day so far this year. I mentioned the live pregnancy test, so I can go ahead and insert the clip that I was gonna post here. Video, I was really tired. I had just woke up and I had a full bladder, so I was gonna take the test that morning. And the reason why I took the test was because the night before PJ had told me to take it, but I decided to wait until the morning because typically that's when your pee is the strongest. So I was completely shocked when I saw the positive result. It wasn't something that I was expecting, especially because prior to this test, they were negative. I kept getting negative tests, and I didn't feel pregnant. I had no symptoms of pregnancy besides maybe bloating, but that's pretty normal when you're about to get your period anyways. So I had found out 5 days before I was supposed to start my period, and I got so excited. I went and bought prenatals and stretch mark lotion because I just wanted to start early with that. And we found out on a Sunday, so I couldn't really call any doctor's offices to set up an appointment for a prenatal checkup. So I called right away on Monday morning, and I called a new clinic. So the first day that they had available for me was May 28th. So literally yesterday was my first appointment, my first prenatal checkup. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I couldn't, obviously schedule anything until that day. So that was the earliest that they had, and I took it. So according to the estimating calendar from your last period day, my last period was April 2nd. So the day that I called, I was 5 weeks. So technically I should have been 8 weeks the day of my appointment. From the time that I found out to my appointment yesterday, I was experiencing pregnancy symptoms. I tried to pay closer attention. Although I didn't have any morning sickness or nausea throughout the day, I definitely was very bloated. I had discomfort on my left side, just a couple other symptoms that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But I felt normal, but at the same time, I felt like I was pregnant. And I was really excited. I'm telling you guys, I was so excited for this baby. This is going to be my second baby, my second kid, like, and it was planned. We wanted this baby. We wanted to grow our family, and that we were ready. And I wanted to have another kid, and I knew with my second pregnancy I was going to do everything different than what I did with my first pregnancy. I'm now in a better spot than I was when I was first pregnant. So I just felt ready, and I was so excited. I started planning how I was going to announce to my family that I was pregnant. I started planning how we were going to find out the gender, and I got even so crazy to the point where I was looking at maternity clothes, and it was mostly because I had gotten so bloated that none of the pants that I own currently were fitting properly, and I literally had just found out. So within the 2 weeks, I was not fitting in my pants, so I started looking up maternity clothes, and I signed up for baby registries in Amazon and baby lists. I'm excited to be pregnant again. Now, fast forward to yesterday, May 28th, 2019. It was a Monday. Just kidding, it was a Tuesday. And so this was my first appointment. It was at 9 in the morning. And it was a tough appointment because it was just me and Julie, and Julie is almost 2, so she likes to get into things. She likes to run around. She doesn't like to stay in one spot for very long. She's very active. So it was really hard just going there by myself with her. So at my appointment, they take my vitals and everything, my weight, normal stuff. They ask me the normal questions, and then I wait what felt like an hour for the doctor to come into the room. And technically I was supposed to be 8 weeks as of yesterday. Supposed to be 8 weeks. So that's normally around the time when they can do an ultrasound. The nurse that was in there before the doctor kept telling me that she wasn't for certain that the doctor was going to do an ultrasound, but she might. So I wasn't expecting anything. The doctor finally comes in, and we actually do an ultrasound. And so I don't really know the medical term for it, but the ultrasound on the belly, she wasn't able to find anything. She literally couldn't see anything by the normal way. So she did a transvaginal ultrasound. So first we actually did a pap smear. She told me she had to do that first because to do the ultrasound there was lube that she had to put on. I don't know if lube is the proper term, but there was that stuff she had to put on, and she didn't want to contaminate the pap smear results. So we did the pap smear, and then we did the transvaginal ultrasound. She was able to find the yolk sac and the baby, and I'm telling you, she was searching for something. She wouldn't point the screen towards me directly, but it was still in a position that I could see the screen, and she was just searching and measuring and searching and measuring and searching and measuring, and I was thinking in my head, I was what is she looking at? The baby's right there. Not once did it cross my mind she's looking for the heartbeat. Where's the heartbeat? Not once. And I really don't know why I didn't think of it. I thought everything was fine. I'm 8 weeks. And then she stops measuring, and she points the screen towards me, and she tells me what she's looking at. And she says, so this is the baby, and this is the yolk sac. The baby is measuring 6 weeks, and I can't find the heartbeat. Those words alone were so hard to swallow. So hard to swallow. I couldn't sit there and not cry in front of them after she said those words. And I was by myself. It was so hard. And so I just broke down. And she tried to be positive. She tried to look at the positive of it. And she said it could be one of two things. It could be, since the baby is measuring only 6 weeks, that it's too early to see the heartbeat at all. Or it could be possible miscarriage. And so what her plans were for me was to get blood drawn every 2 days. So I was supposed to, that day I got my blood drawn, and then I was supposed to come back on Thursday and then come back on Monday to get my blood drawn so they could monitor the HCG levels to make sure that they were doubling every 2 days like they were supposed to be. And I just couldn't get past the heartbeat. Like, I know she was trying to be positive, but it's just hard when they say those words. It's hard to hold on to anything else. So I got my blood drawn and I went on my way, went to work, and it was tough. I even have the ultrasound pictures from what she was showing me. Baby was measuring 6 weeks and between 3 and 4 days. Now today, May 29th, probably the hardest day, but I had all day yesterday to let it sink in, and although it still really hurts and it's still really fresh, I cried all day yesterday, from the appointment, in between calls at work, at home. I cried this morning. But anyways, I got out of bed at 8:30 because I had to pee and I was going to start getting ready for work. The moment I stood up from my bed, I felt a flow of liquid come out and go onto my underwear. And honestly, I didn't want it to be blood, but it felt like blood. It felt like the start of my period. Like I was just leaking blood. And I didn't want it to be blood, but I went to the bathroom and I sat down on the toilet, and there was blood. There was blood on my underwear. There was blood in the toilet. There was blood when I wiped, and it freaked me out. But I called my doctor's office and I let them know, that I was bleeding. And the lady that I spoke with said they might make you go to the hospital or they might see you. So they put me on hold for a couple of minutes, and then she said to come in, they're going to see me right away. So I went straight over to the office, had my aunt meet me there so she could help me with my daughter, and felt like I sat there forever again while I'm just bleeding. Like I could just feel myself bleeding. I finally get called back into a room. I described to them what was happening. They didn't really check me, but the doctor said by what I was describing, it sounded like a miscarriage. They referred me over to a different location to get an ultrasound, and I just knew like when you're bleeding that much that early on in pregnancy, there's just no way. There's just no way that the baby is still there. And I don't even officially have the results back from any of the tests that were done, the blood work, the ultrasound that was done today. But there's just no way. There's literally no way. And the reason why I say that is because 20 minutes before we actually get to the location for the ultrasound, we're still home and we're actually on our way out the door, but I have this feeling that I have to go to the bathroom. And I sit down and I just feel this ball come out. Like, I don't know if anyone has ever peed out a blood clot during their period before. I have, but it kind of felt like that, but a little bigger. And the minute I felt that, I looked in the toilet, and I promise you, it looked like a sack. It looked like a sack. Calling PJ's name, but he was in the other room and he couldn't hear me. So I get up, I obviously don't flush the toilet, and I take a picture of it. I take a picture of what landed in the toilet. In that moment, I knew that I had officially lost the baby. I mean, there was no other explanation. It was like a blood clot, and there was a lot of a blood clot and a sack in the toilet. And like, as gross as it sounds, I really wish I had pulled it out of the toilet so I could get like a closer look at it, just to be sure. I mean, I knew what it was. But as gross as it sounds, I wish I would have grabbed it out of the toilet. But I knew in that moment that was it. And it's so sad. And I know I can keep myself together pretty well. And I know I'm gonna have moments where I break down. And I'm gonna have moments where I feel like I have no emotion at all. Because I've never gone through this. I don't feel alone, because I know I have people that I can go to, and I know I'm not the only one who's gone through this, so I definitely don't feel alone. But I do feel really sad, because I was just so excited for this pregnancy. But anyways, I totally forget to mention that I leave to the ultrasound, and of course they can't tell you anything. They're not the doctor, so they can't really explain to you what they see in the ultrasound. But I looked at those images and there was absolutely nothing compared to the ultrasound that I had yesterday, where you could see what was inside my uterus. To today, there was absolutely nothing. I don't even have the official results back from today's ultrasound, but there's no way that there's anything in there, because on those images that were done today, it's completely empty. And although she couldn't tell me that, I could still see clear as day. Even PJ was looking at the screen, and he was saying there was nothing. There's nothing there. So I'm actually very sad. Sad to the point where I sometimes feel numb and I have no emotion towards it. And then, like, I know I just found out today, but I've literally gone through 1 hour, I'm numb and I'm not crying. I don't have any emotion. And the next hour, I'm sad and I'm crying and I'm talking about it or thinking about it, and I'm just so upset. And the next moment, I'm talking about it and I'm fine. And it's just a weird cycle. I mean, I know in the future I still want to grow my family, but for right now, I think I'm just gonna wait, because I feel like pregnancy after a loss is 10 times scarier than the loss, because the possibility of it happening again is there. And I just wanted to get my story out there, because it's so raw right now. The emotion is so real, and the roller coaster of my emotions is so weird. I wanted to make this video before I got so numb to the fact that this happened that I have no emotion at all, because I will eventually get that way. Although I'm not saying that I never want to think about this pregnancy, because I definitely will always remember this. But I know there will come a time where I'm just completely numb to the whole experience. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, going backwards, is the doctor actually said that it's like a miscarriage. So basically the baby grew to a certain point and it stopped growing. So in this case, it grew to 6 weeks and a couple days, and it just stopped growing. I will always remember this pregnancy. I don't know how I'm gonna tell my family. I don't even know how I'm gonna tell the people that I told that I was pregnant. But I'm just gonna end this video here. If you listened to my full story, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm still blessed with, a beautiful, healthy daughter. So life is still gonna go on. She's still gonna need, my full attention and my energy. So, life doesn't stop here. I still have responsibilities that I'm glad I have. So I definitely know that I'm gonna heal from this.